Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather in U.S. and Canada. So let's see what's happening for today. There's this light risk of severe weather in parts of the U.S., including parts of Michigan and Illinois and Iowa, Wisconsin, northern Indiana, northern Ohio, parts of northwestern Pennsylvania, and westernmost New York. And there's this marginal risk around it there. And let's see, from Kansas to New York, and general risk of storms in parts of the south there. So let's see, clusters of damaging thunderstorm winds and occasional large hail possible across the Great Lakes region and portions of the Midwest. So stay safe there. Let's see, tornado threats, there's actually 2% in parts of Michigan, Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and Iowa. So be aware there. 2% chance of tornadoes. Wind is a big 15% and a 5% in the whole area, the slight and the marginal. And hail is also a 15 and a 5% there. 15 there around Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa, and a 5% around it. So stay safe there. Let's see. The HER for today shows a bunch of storms there in Ontario and Quebec, and then they keep going there, and later this evening, some storms start firing northern Missouri there, and let's see, but it shows those storms like in 17C around Wisconsin and Michigan there, but nothing crazy in Minnesota as well. But let's see a past run to see what it shows, because this run is weird. So it shows like 13C, some storms are in Wisconsin there, and then, oh, this is it, I think. They form around northern Missouri there, they go through Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and get very strong into Michigan and northern Ohio there later. But that's Wednesday, shows like 10C Wednesday, that's like tomorrow morning, right? So it might be stronger today in Iowa, parts of southern Wisconsin and Michigan, and then, but that's already 9C Wednesday, so that's like in the middle of the night into tomorrow morning. Weird, but be aware there. Those first storms, because it'll be very late, it shows like very late, like 6C Wednesday, that the first storms there in Iowa. So that's like late this evening and tonight. So those storms will be very late there and get stronger around Michigan, then be stronger tomorrow there around those areas. So especially on Thursday, tomorrow, it shows some stronger storms there by 20C Wednesday. So this will be like tomorrow. So there's this other run, we can see it better. It shows the storms there in Canada, and then later a storm or two in Michigan. But those ones start firing in northern Missouri and Iowa, but then the run ends there. So the hurricane, like very little stuff today, but if anything forms, it might be very intense in that whole area of the slight risk there, from Missouri to Pennsylvania. So be careful there. And for tomorrow, it shows two slight risks. One in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, parts of New York and Massachusetts, and West Virginia, parts of Ohio, and Maryland, and even some other areas, and a marginal from Arkansas to Massachusetts. So there's another slight in North and South Dakota, and a marginal North and South Dakota and Minnesota. So let's see, tornado threat tomorrow is less than 2%, but always be aware. Wind is 15% and 5% in all areas, and hail is also 15 and 5% tomorrow. So be aware there are several storms expected across parts of the Midwest and Northeast Mid-Atlantic area, over portions of the Northern Plains. So be careful there tomorrow. And let's see this 12Z run again. It shows, let's see, Wednesday, it shows some storms there in like North Dakota, mainly from that low pressure system in Montana. It shows some very intense storms tomorrow afternoon and evening, like North Dakota, maybe South Dakota, but mainly North Dakota going to Minnesota and Manitoba there later. So be aware there tomorrow. And then later for day 3 it shows just 2 marginals there in a big area of general risk of storms throughout the southeast, many areas the mid-south and southwest. So it shows tomorrow marginal risk in parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. That's day 3 actually. And marginal parts of Minnesota and Iowa and Nebraska, South Dakota, and Kansas. So be aware there. Let's see, a few strong to severe storms were possible over portions of Virginia and the Carolinas and across the upper Mississippi Valley, upper Midwest to Central Plains on Thursday. So be aware there for Thursday. And day 4 through 8, there's nothing yet. Just fire threat is elevated today, parts of Washington and Oregon, even if parts of Idaho. And tomorrow, they still don't have anything yet. So be aware there, stay safe. Let's see what it shows. The European model shows today a lot of cape there extending to the Midwest. Illinois, especially Wisconsin, Iowa, shows some big amounts of cape there for those storms. So be aware. And let's see here. So this is the HER. It shows the significant tornado parameter. It shows some parameters later this afternoon and evening around Michigan and even into Wisconsin, especially near Lake Michigan, but nothing crazy. It's just a 2%, so nothing crazy there. And let's see the updraft helicity, the chance for large hail and severe storms. So more there but mainly in Canada it shows more probabilities up there in Quebec and Ontario, and some in kind of Missouri and Iowa, but nothing crazy. Some in Wisconsin, but be aware. There's a slight risk there today, but the models are not showing anything that crazy. But the storms are already happening there too. So let's see. Some cape. There's the surface-based cape. It shows very high Michigan and Illinois as well. More cape there, but let's see. It shows like this afternoon and this evening. More in Iowa there, parts of Missouri, more cape. So be aware there, but nothing very crazy. But stay safe there when those storms come. So let's see the other stuff. So some mixed precipitation possible in the northwest today, more rain and storms in the south, the severe storms there. So let's see, excessive rainfall as light marginal risk in parts of the Midwest and kind of the plains, Kansas, and the upper Midwest, and in the southwest not the marginal, so be careful with periods of heavy rain. More another marginal risk tomorrow for Wednesday in the north and kind of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and the Midwest. In the southwest there, day 3 and another marginal there across the Midwest, parts of the high plains and even the central plains there, and another marginal in the east. Day 4 next Friday shows another marginal kind of in the northeast and the southwest. Day 5 another marginal in the southwest and the northeast. So be aware. Let's see, rainfall for today shows some more in the Gulf. The southwest shows a lot in Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa when the storms form up there. It shows a lot in Quebec and Ontario, parts of Wisconsin, and the upper part of Michigan, and in the north there. Day 2, more through North Dakota, Minnesota, and parts of Canada because of that system. More across New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, in the Gulf there, and in other areas. Day 2, Day 3 actually for Thursday shows more in the Gulf, Texas and Louisiana, more in the Midwest and Minnesota, Wisconsin especially, and Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Nebraska, Ontario. So in North Virginia shows a lot as well, Maryland, Pennsylvania for Thursday. Let's see, Friday shows still more in the Gulf, in New Mexico, parts of Texas, more in the Northeast and Canada. And day 5 for Saturday shows some more in the Gulf, in Texas and New Mexico, more across the east there. Day 6 next Sunday shows more across Texas especially and New Mexico, so be aware there, Oklahoma as well, and more across the east and Canada. Day 7 still shows more in Texas and New Mexico, Louisiana, even northern Mexico, southern Oklahoma, so be aware there. Day 1 through 7 shows a lot in the Gulf and a lot in Mexico, no, in Texas, in New Mexico, and in parts of the east, in Canada, and in Florida as well, in the northern plains there. So stay safe. Let's see. The heat risk is still extreme today, parts of the Midwest and major there, so be careful with the heat, some moderate on the southwest, some major on the southeast. Wednesday, more major heat risk throughout the Ohio Valley, parts of the east, and still the Midwest. Thursday, some more extreme and major heat risk in some central areas there, and let's see, and major in the east as well. Friday, more major and moderate heat risk across Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, and other areas there, and moderate across Ohio and all the way south to Florida, more moderate heat risk on the west. So Saturday, some more moderate heat risk on the southeast and on the west. Sunday, a little bit more moderate heat risk on the west and southwest and the southeast. Monday, more on the southeast and some areas of the west. So be careful with the heat as well. The maximum temperatures today shows 100 parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, lots of 90s there in the Midwest and southeast, 100s on the southwest. Let's see. Day 2 shows more 100s on the southwest in California as well, 90s in southwestern Oregon, more 100s in Tennessee, Alabama, some areas there, some 90s in the south and southeast, even close to 100 in Maryland there, in some areas there, so be careful. Let's see, day 3, more 90s and even low hundreds in parts of central eastern areas, more 90s on the southeast, 100s on the southwest, and all the way to Oregon, 100s in California. Day 4 shows more 100s in parts of the Ohio Valley, in West Virginia, like 90s, not 100s, 90s, and 90s on the southeast as well, in Texas, and more 100s on the southwest, and some 90s across the west. Day 5 for Saturday shows more 90s in the southeast and 100s on the southwest, and some 90s on the west. There are even 100s in Oregon. So day 6 next Sunday shows more 90s on the southeast, more 100s on the southwest, and 90s on the west there, even to 100 in parts of Washington. Day 7 next Monday, more 100s on the southwest, 90s on the north there, more scared 90s and 80s there, and more 90s on the southeast and some 70s further north. So be aware there that 24-hour max wind gusts shows higher winds in Montana, in Idaho, in Oregon, Washington, so be careful there. Some gusty winds because of that system. In Arizona, gusty wind there too. And of course, with the storms, there'll be a lot of gusty winds, but it doesn't show up here. But there'll be very strong winds with those storms. And let's see. This is the 48-hour snowfall. It shows a tiny hint of snow in some mountains of Montana there because of that system up in Canada. So be aware there. And let's see. The current hazards show heat warnings in the Midwest and heat advisories, some special weather statements there and stuff. Heat advisories in South Florida, red flag warnings and wind advisories on the west, and some air quality advisories and flood watches in New Mexico, and some air quality advisories in other areas there. So let's see here. What else? So this is the European model. It shows the storms in the Midwest, today especially in Michigan, Wisconsin there, and some others because those storms are still happening in Wisconsin. So and then it shows later up in Michigan, and then let's see, it shows that rain lingering the Gulf there in Texas, Louisiana these next 2 days. So be aware, these next 2 days some heavier downpours there, and eventually around Friday more rain across Texas and New Mexico and other areas. So be aware there. And for Canada, it shows some minor storms possible in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Today maybe some wind and hail and some rain. And then let's see, day 2, that there's still nothing, the same thing. And Northwestern Territories, nothing. British Columbia shows some storms there possible, and Yukon some minor storms, and some moderate storms like after 0C, northeastern British Columbia, so some moderate to strong storms there, and even nocturnal in some other areas, so be aware because of that system. And day 2, they still don't have anything. In Ontario, those severe storms possible in southern Ontario, some minor storms in other areas, but be aware there. Like in area A and area B, a tornado or two possible, some large hail, very strong wind gusts, and heavy rain, so be careful there with the severe storms. And more there in Quebec, it shows those severe storms possible in southwestern Quebec, and some minor storms for like northern central Quebec there, so be aware. In area A, some strong winds, small to large hail, and some rainfall there. And in Atlantic Canada, it shows some minor storms possible in Labrador there and in the ocean. So let's see, the warnings, they have the severe thunderstorm watches in Quebec and Ontario. Some this afternoon and evening conditions will be favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms, capable of producing strong winds, large hail, and heavy rain. Between 20 and 40 millimeters of rain is generally forecast. However, some local amounts might exceed 50 millimeters in thunderstorm areas. So be careful there for west, southern and eastern Ontario, southwestern Quebec, and in some rainfall warnings for Ontario there because of the heavy rain from that system. Southern Ontario shows some heat warnings because of the heat wave from the Midwest, so be aware there. We'll show you the temperatures in a minute. Some air quality statements in central western Ontario, and some air quality advisories in Manitoba because of the smoke, and more in the northwestern territory, some areas of air quality advisories, wildfire smoke causing poor quality and low visibility, and still the storm surge warnings there in northern Yukon, so storm surge conditions expected to return to King Kataruk Territorial Park beginning Wednesday, so be aware there. And Labrador shows some heat warnings because of the period of warm temperatures and high humidity index values, and very strong winds in northern Quebec there, so up to 90 km/h gusts in that island there of Quebec, so some wind warnings, and in northern Quebec too, so be careful there. Let's see, it shows in western Canada that system brewing there, so lots of snow in those mountains of Alberta and British Columbia, be aware there. And the system keeps going there. That other system comes by tonight and Wednesday into Alaska and Yukon, more snow and rain there, as that system spins there near Alberta and Montana, bringing those severe storms to parts of Saskatchewan, North Dakota. So it will keep spinning there and go away. And even in Alberta, we might have some strong to severe storms tomorrow. And then more rain there in British Columbia by Saturday as the new system comes. And let's see Central Canada. It shows that I'll talk about when we go to Eastern Canada, and it shows some showers, maybe a storm or two today and tomorrow in parts of southern Manitoba. And then it shows that system spinning there, but by Wednesday evening, tomorrow shows some very strong to severe storms across southern Saskatchewan. I think that's like southwestern Manitoba, North Dakota, Saskatchewan. So be aware there, and those storms could be quite intense, could continue into Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Western Ontario. There, that system leaves there by Friday and Saturday, and it goes into Quebec. So Eastern Canada shows the severe storms in the Midwest going towards Southern Canada, especially southwestern Ontario and parts of southwestern Quebec as well, like Southern Ontario and southwestern Quebec. So though there's heavy rain and strong to severe storms there. So be careful. Then it keeps going, and then by Wednesday it shows those storms moving to the northeastern U.S. and kind of New Brunswick. That cold front affects Labrador and Newfoundland. So be careful there. And then that system comes and brings all those storms to Ontario, parts of the US again, by Friday. Then it spins there, goes to Quebec, more rain, into Eastern Canada later, but by the beginning of September. So even some snow there later. So yeah, stay safe from the systems. The HER shows, let's see, this is a better look to it. I think it shows the HER shows those very big line of storms in Ontario there, and Quebec shows one line of storms in Quebec and another one in Ontario. Then it's still very strong. It keeps going there through Ontario into southwestern Quebec this evening. So the HER showing very heavy rain and major storms there this evening. They keep going, and then they move there tomorrow into the northeastern US in New Brunswick, and then later shows the storms in Wisconsin and Michigan, and especially the ones in Michigan, like tonight to tomorrow, some move into southern Ontario there, and more storms tomorrow, Wednesday. The HER showing more storms Wednesday, affecting specifically northern Ohio and southernmost Ontario, going to Pennsylvania there. And it's showing a new line of storms forming tomorrow evening, very strongly there across Illinois and Indiana. A very strong line of storms going to Ohio as well. So we'll keep watching that, and there'll be that new system spinning there. We'll bring in those severe storms in the northern plains in Canada. So stay safe there. Let's see, it shows those very high temperatures today there because of the heat wave in southern Ontario, close to 29, 30, even 31 degrees there. So be aware. In the west is kind of warm today too, and let's see, it continues kind of like this, not as warm as before, but still some high 20s in Ontario there, and in some other areas, especially in the south there in Alberta, Saskatchewan, some higher 20s Saturday and later this week. So yeah, and let's see, the wind gusts shows those very strong winds still happening in Quebec there because of that system. So let's see, some seas there up to 95 km/h gusts. So please be careful with those strong winds there. Then it keeps going, affects a little bit Labrador as well, the strong winds, and they continue through today and tomorrow in Quebec. Then they go even another wave of strong winds northern Quebec by Thursday. Then it keeps going, affects Greenland later and goes away. But might have some other systems in Hudson Bay by next Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with some stronger winds. So stay safe there. And in the west, it shows the stronger winds because of that system there in the northwestern US, southwestern Canada. And then that system keeps going there, goes to central Canada with stronger winds. So be careful there. And the European model is showing, let's see, in the next 3 days, more snow in the mountains of Alaska and Yukon, and in the mountains of Alberta and British Columbia there because of that system. Some more snow, so be aware. So this is it. Stay safe. Bye.